The dust hasn't even settled and something small, dark, and absolutely furious is already closing the gap. On the open red earth of the African savanna, where the soil burns like rusted iron under a sky starting to bruise with cloud, a honey badger is pacing. Not the restless pacing of an animal searching for food. This is something rawer than hunger. This is a creature built for conflict, wired for it, practically addicted to it, and right now it is itching. Rolling in the dirt near its burrow, twisting on its back, grinding its thick body against the dry ground like it's trying to shake loose some unbearable internal pressure. Something in its biology is demanding a fight, and the savanna, indifferent as always, is about to provide one. Then it sees the wildebeest. Roughly 40 meters away, a wildebeest, a full-grown African bull weighing close to 300 kilograms, is going about its morning. It is enormous, shaggy, horned, and built like a wall with legs. Its shoulder alone stands taller than the badger's entire body length. The size difference between these two animals isn't just dramatic, it borders on absurd. And the honey badger does not care even slightly. It locks onto that massive animal, drops its head low, and charges. The badger hits the wildebeest like a thrown stone. No warning, no posturing, no ritual display. It launches straight at the giant's legs and head, jaws snapping, claws raking, its entire muscular body coiling and lunging with a ferocity that makes the wildebeest flinch backward on pure instinct. That first contact is shocking, not because the badger draws blood immediately, but because the wildebeest actually moves. A 300-kilogram animal, startled into retreat by something the size of a house cat. The badger presses hard into this moment of psychological dominance, biting down on the lower leg, refusing to release, pulling and twisting while the much larger animal stamps and kicks in rising panic. But the wildebeest is not prey. It recovers fast. What happens next is a brutal recalibration. The wildebeest plants its feet, swings its heavy horned head downward, and catches the badger mid-lunge with a blow that sends the small predator skidding sideways across the red dirt. The badger tumbles, rights itself in less than a second, and charges back in. The wildebeest bucks, kicks, and drives forward, using its full mass now, no longer retreating. One hoof connects, a glancing strike, and the badger rolls again. It gets up again. The two animals are locked into something that has stopped looking like a predator attack and started looking like a war. This is where most animals would reassess. This is where survival instinct would whisper something sensible about size differentials and acceptable losses. The honey badger doesn't have that conversation with itself. It is back on the wildebeest within seconds, targeting the legs with surgical persistence, biting and releasing and biting again, forcing the larger animal to keep spinning, keep kicking, keep burning energy just to stay upright. The wildebeest is breathing harder now. Its movements are getting wider, more desperate, the kicks less controlled. The badger is dictating the rhythm of this fight, and the rhythm it has chosen is relentless. The wildebeest lands a full kick to the wildebeest's side that flings the badger several feet through the air. It hits the dirt hard and lies completely still. For a moment, just a moment, the savanna goes quiet. The wildebeest stands over the motionless body, sides heaving. The badger is flat on its back in the red soil, legs in the air, unmoving. Any reasonable observer would call this. Any other animal on this plain would stay down. The wildebeest begins to step back, reading the stillness as submission, as defeat, as the natural conclusion of a fight it had no business winning in the first place. The badger's legs move. Then its head comes up. Then it flips onto its feet. What the honey badger does next defies not just the outcome of that kick, but something deeper. Some fundamental biological contract that says pain means stop. It doesn't charge cautiously. It doesn't limp forward in a wounded, diminished version of its earlier assault. It launches, full speed, back into the legs of the wildebeest, biting with the same savage intensity as the very first second of the fight, as though that devastating blow simply never happened. As though its body refused to record it. The wildebeest stumbles backward, and something in its eyes has changed. The honey badger's skin is one of the great engineering achievements in the animal kingdom, thick, rubbery, and so loosely attached to the underlying muscle that predators biting down on it essentially grab a fistful of nothing. It cannot be held. It cannot be pinned. And critically, it is extraordinarily resistant to the kind of blunt trauma that would incapacitate most animals its size. The kick that looked fatal hit an animal that was, in a very real physiological sense, nearly unkillable. The badger's brain also processes pain differently. It keeps functioning, keeps fighting, through stimuli that would shut other animals down completely. It is not fearless because it is stupid. It is fearless because it was built that way. The wildebeest is breaking. You can see it in the legs first, that slight buckle on each impact, the way its balance keeps shifting, the increasingly wide and uncoordinated kicks landing in empty air as the badger ducks and weaves below them. The large animal is exhausted in a way that goes beyond physical tiredness. It has been fighting for its life, burning adrenaline at a full sprint, absorbing constant psychological punishment from an opponent that simply will not acknowledge the existence of losing. The wildebeest's knees begin to fold. It stumbles once, catches itself, stumbles again. And then, slowly, with the gravity of something utterly spent, it goes down onto the red earth. The savanna holds its breath. And then, from somewhere above, a shape drops out of the overcast sky. A vulture, drawn by the collapse, the stillness, the ancient arithmetic of something large hitting the ground, circles once and lands nearby. It moves toward the downed wildebeest with the cautious, hunched confidence of a scavenger who has done this calculation 1,000 times before. The honey badger charges it immediately. Without hesitation, without a moment to recover from the fight that just ended, it turns and drives the vulture back with the same volcanic aggression it brought to every other moment of this encounter. The bird retreats into the air. The badger returns to stand over the wildebeest. There is no ceremony in this moment, no howling, no display. The badger simply asserts ownership the same way it asserts everything, with absolute, unambiguous forward motion. What this fight reveals about the honey badger goes beyond toughness. Toughness is a passive quality, something that absorbs damage and keeps standing. What the honey badger demonstrated here is something more active and more alarming. It is an animal with a compulsive need for conflict, a body engineered to survive extraordinary punishment, and a neurological system that refuses to translate pain into surrender. The wildebeest didn't lose because it was weak. It lost because it was fighting something that operates outside the normal rules of animal combat. Something that doesn't weigh odds, doesn't accept signals to stop, and doesn't know how to quit. When the fight is finally over, the badger, battered and exhausted in the way only a winning warrior can be, turns away from its fallen opponent and crawls back into the narrow mouth of its underground burrow. Back into the dark, back into the earth, back into the silence of the only rest it will allow itself, until the restlessness returns. In the animal kingdom, the most dangerous creature is rarely the largest one. It's the one that has never learned the word enough.